So they were like, listen Sven, when you start a cycle at high dosages, double the dosages, you're gonna triple the dosages. Welcome back to the channel.
You should make my earthquake. Oh, make my earthquake.
Welcome back to the channel. This is the Anomaly. I'm gonna tell you the story of when I told my parents that I wanted to take steroids. So when I finally made the decision to hop on my first cycle, I spent 4 years natural. So I had no coach. I was just trying to get a decent job. I dropped out of school. I didn't want to continue school. And I didn't really know where to go and what to do with my life. And during this stage of my life, I was also having a lot of family-related issues. There was a point I didn't have a place to live. There was a point I punched a window.
It's a nasty scar on the arm.
Yes, I was still natural when I punched the window. And I was having a lot of problems mentally. I had insomnia. I couldn't sleep. I used to take antidepressants and sleeping pills just to battle my anxiety and the crazy insomnia that I had. I even used to smoke weed just to try to sleep. None of it worked. And I spent like 2 years of my life, I wasn't in a good place at all. And I wanted to take steroids at a younger age. But I didn't want to rush anything and be stupid like everyone's doing right now. I always had in mind that if I want to be a good bodybuilder, I need to learn how to actually eat and train first. So there's no point in me hopping on a cycle when I don't even know any of these. You know, like the first thing you need to keep in mind is a cycle, it's like a tool. If you don't know how to use the tool, there is no point in grabbing it. So don't just rush into the gym first month in and you take gear. No, that was always my mindset. I was always smart enough or self-aware enough that I wasn't knowledgeable enough on the subject to actually do it alone. I always tried to focus on learning first. And I started slow. I remember first thing I did, again, this was just me being natural, and I just wanted more gains in a natural way. The first thing I did to change things up and upgrade my lifestyle, was change the food. In the beginning, I was eating like 3 to 4 meals per day. And it was always, I didn't track anything. I just ate whatever I want. I always bought from outside, from fast food places, you know, so McDonald's, instant ramen, a bunch of eggs in the morning, a bunch of tuna. So this might sound familiar for you because you're probably doing the same thing.
You got me.
You're just f***ing around, like you're trying to get big, but you don't know how to eat properly. So that's the first thing you need to focus on, is eating properly. That's the first step I took to going on this path. I didn't just rush into a cycle, no. I was smart enough to not do that to myself. And then I learned how to eat. But I got to a point, as you guys know, I was force-feeding too much. I was pushing myself too much. And as I mentioned earlier, I was on pills, I was on antidepressants. My mind, it wasn't good at the time. I was always going through shit. And the gym was the only place where I felt like I could feel better. It was the only place that made me feel at home, in a way. On days where I worked out, I used to sleep a bit better, if I even got some sleep, because my insomnia was so bad that I had like a full month of sleeping an hour or two a day. I don't know how I'm still alive.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you...
I wasn't getting any deep sleep. I was getting only light sleep. So it was like I was napping through all my nights. I was always suffering. I was not enjoying life. The only time I felt good and enjoyed my life was in the gym. So that's why I was instantly considering a cycle, because I was seeing everyone on social media. I was looking at David Lade. I was looking at Rich Piana. I was seeing how big they can get. And when I looked in the mirror, I knew something about me was different. I knew I was gonna shapeshift or transform in a way. I'm not saying just because you think you're gonna blow up, you will blow up. I was just lucky enough that what I saw in the mirror actually was reality, and I ended up being a genetic anomaly. Because I responded very, very well, and I didn't need much to begin with. there's a lot of people, they blast grams of gear and they get nowhere. They don't get to where I am. And you as a natural watching this, you could look better than them and you don't even know that they're on steroids, you know, because not everyone admits that they're on gear. The only people who admit that they're on gear, they're either like, they look really good or it's blatantly obvious. But there's people who look actually natural. They look like they don't even work out and they're blasting more gear than any top Olympian right now. So it all depends on how you respond. It's not just because you think you're gonna get big, you're gonna get big. You know, it's not a mind thing. Like, yes, you need the mindset to push yourself to that point and get to that point. But it's all about genetic response. If you don't have the genetics for bodybuilding, do not even consider it. Like, I knew from the beginning that I was gonna transform because I already had good shape. I was strong, I had good arms, you know, I had good shoulders. My chest, I had a good shape as well, but it was flat. My back, I think my back was the thing that made me confident enough that I was gonna transform. I always had the V shape and the small waist. I might even clip a video. I always had a very freaky kind of aesthetic look. My only thought wasn't to be aesthetic, it was to get big. So that's why I was force feeding so much. And then my friend, I won't say his name, but he knows who he is. He was gonna start a cycle, so it always starts from there. You always have that one friend who wants to try it out, and then you're like, let's do it together because it's cool, you know, trend twin vibes. I was interested. He was depressed. I was depressed. And we were always like talking in the DMs and saying how everything is, how we want everything to be better. I'm not sure why he wanted to start a cycle. But my goal was always to be a bodybuilder. He never wanted to be a bodybuilder. He just wanted to try one. And yeah, before I started the cycle with my friend, it was nothing crazy, by the way. Like, stop thinking everything's crazy. I was being very, very cautious, the most minimal possible. You know, I'm not doing anything crazy ever. Imagine this: you start a cycle at high dosages, and it's your first cycle. So what are you gonna do with your second? You're gonna double the dosages, you're gonna triple the dosages. Like, you need to make use of the small amounts as possible, and then you slowly titrate up. It's the same thing with food. And yeah, I told my parents finally. I was like, listen, I wanna be a bodybuilder. I know I'm only 19, but that's the only thing that I feel like it's making me happy right now. And they knew, because again, my parents, everyone, we had a bumpy ride, like the car right now. During the traumatic bullshit that I went through, I had a lot of episodes where I lost my shit. One of them was punching the window. So they were like, listen, Svein, we know you've been through a lot. Like, if it genuinely gives you a purpose and it makes you happy, go for it, but be safe, as always. So that's what I did. They fully understood what I wanted to do and what I was looking for. They knew I wasn't dumb enough to just ruin my health. So that's why they were okay with it, you know. They believed my word that I knew what I was doing and I'm not gonna do anything stupid or rush anything to the point where I fuck up my health permanently. 2 weeks into the cycle, I was getting fat and watery. Then I met a guy in the gym and he was like, listen, you need a coach. Like, if you're actually going on this path, you need a coach. And that's when I realized diet is the most important part. It isn't just steroids. You need to focus on fixing your diet first and dial in properly before you start dabbling around with this stuff. And then we fixed my diet with my coach, my first coach. And that's where it all started, essentially. So my parents, they didn't really like the idea. Like, you know how in bodybuilding everyone takes steroids, but for some reason it's still not talked about as much, you know, like everyone just hides it. They didn't really accept it at first, but they just understood. And it was always a risky move, you know, it wasn't a smart decision from my end. But again, that's what made me happy. And I was always going to be safe with it. So I knew I wasn't going into something that was going to make permanent damages. And they knew as well. So that's why they accepted it after. But I know what it's like to be a young guy and maybe you're going through shit. And you just want You want to feel good, you want to feel better. So if you're in that position right now, don't think steroids is gonna make you big. Don't think steroids is gonna make you famous. Like, don't think anything positive, because most of the time, nothing positive will come out of it. What brings positivity and what brings the good stuff is when you work hard. This is on gear, without gear. When you work hard, when you constantly push towards your goal, and you're constantly working towards something, it will be given to you. You just need to keep working and working, and you cannot give up, ever. Every time you feel like you've hit a wall, just fucking push through it, you know? Break the wall. Another one's gonna come up, you need to break it again, and it's gonna be a constant, like, it's not gonna stop. It's not gonna stop, it's not gonna get easier. It's gonna get stronger. You're gonna get stronger physically, mentally. So yeah, my parents may have reacted in a good way, but that's because of my past that I had and the shit we went through to get to that point, so they understood. Your parents might not. I wouldn't suggest ever taking steroids, and if you're gonna do it, I would have that conversation with them. They should always know everything like that you're doing, so they can protect you and keep you safe. Like, if something goes wrong, if something happens, who's gonna be the first you go to? Your parents. So always be respectful towards your parents. Your parents, if they truly love you and you know that they love you, they just want the best for you, you know? Like a mom and a dad, they're the best thing you can have. They won't always be there. And if they're good to you, you need to be good to them. Give them the same energy. I personally don't know my real dad, my biological dad. I just have my stepdad right now. So always respect your parents, tell them everything, because when shit goes south, they're the first you will go to. And when I told them that I was gonna hop on a cycle, we were broke, like all of us, you know, my family, we don't really have any money. We never had money, and we always had problems.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always.
Many problems, I won't go into detail. But some people, they had a drug problem, and it drove everything into when a 19-year-old goes up to the parents who are currently going through drug problems, like the family's having a lot of drug problems. That's when, you know, it's a bad sign, you know. They thought I was going to end up like some weird steroid junkie, and obviously they were scared. They were scared, but they understood, and they knew I was smart enough or self-aware enough that I wouldn't let myself get to a point where I would destroy myself. And just because you're gonna take steroids or you're gonna hop on a cycle does not mean your life is gonna get easier, it's gonna get harder. Be ready for it, and don't let these idiots on the internet convince you that gear is all sunshine and rainbows. It's, like, I'm being honest, it's not sunshine and rainbows at all. You need balls. As I said in the other videos, you need balls to just keep up, because life is gonna throw a lot of shit at you, and when you're on gear, you're gonna be more emotional, you're gonna react to things differently. You're living life on hard mode, you know. But I did it because it was truly what made me happy, and I had a vision in my head, and I wanted to make it a reality, and I did. So, but I'm one of the lucky few who made it a reality. I still have a different vision in my head. I didn't think I would get this far, so I'm still working towards mine. But this is why a dream is good. Having a dream is good, because even if you're going through a lot of bullshit and you're going through a dark time in your life, a dream, it gives you hope. It keeps you grounded, and it keeps you looking forward to the next day. Feel blessed that you have the opportunity to even build muscle, because some people, they can't afford food and they can't even try to pursue this journey. Bodybuilding is insanely expensive. Make sure you're financially stable. You need to be aware what you're signing up for, and just be smart about it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to use code Anomaly if you want to keep supporting my grind. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye-bye.